Hello! Welcome to Cinema First. The month is October and we have lots of stuff to go through. More Super 8 and a field trip to Rockwood, Ontario for a video shoot and learning about nature. Learning how to take proper, better photography, both photos and video in nature. But first, let's take a look at some Super 8 films. Today, we're going to go over films for the Super 8 collecting. Some of these films go way back. These are collector items. These came out in the mid to late 60s and all through into the 70s. The Super 8, and they were collector's items. You could get them and you could get a projector and set it up in your home. This is before all the VHS and beta tapes.
Yeah, War of the Planets, science fiction. I think that originally came out in 1950 something. Abbott and Costello. Have Badge, Will Chase. My dad had this one years and years ago in the 70s, and we'd watch it. And it's probably about 10 minutes long. Paleface with Bob Hope.
So what they did with these short movies is they made some of them 3 minutes long, okay, just 3 minutes, and they would splice down the best parts of the movie, and they would put just for 3 minutes, and that would be from start to finish. It's a 3-minute movie. The bigger ones, like the Paleface, they would same thing, get all the best parts of it, shrink it all down, and then that was their movie, and they would make pretty good money on it, but it wasn't a huge success. It wasn't because they were expensive, and the projectors they used weren't the greatest, and it'd chew them up, and then you'd have to go back to the store and get another one, and it was but it was kind of like a rich kid collection, you know, because not everybody had the money for that kind of stuff back then. And then when VHS came out, if you can remember, when it came out, it was expensive first, and then it, you know, got cheaper as it went along. But this was just a thing with, like I say, the mid 60s to late 60s, and then on through the 70s. But it was all weeded out probably, you know, by the late 70s, 1980s. Anyways, this was my collection that hung on to it. My dad got them somewhere, probably when he was, you know, interested in the Super 8. From I think he started in 1970. And anyways, this was the Kodachrome that I have still floating around. One of the boxes, and you know, they don't the processing for that, they stopped. But anybody that still hasn't, I think there's a place in California called Dwayne's Color Lab. I think they still do some of the processing there. So, like I say, things to look for if you're going to pawn shops or flea markets is these small cameras. You can pick them up. Don't pay more than $10 for them, because you know, they're a dime a dozen. But sometimes if you look, you know, if you're careful and you look inside, you might find a roll of film in there.
And this here's the camera, the Bell and Howell. Pretty basic camera, auto load. And there's the film inside it, Kodachrome 40. And on the other side is where they keep the batteries.
It's good to look at. You know, it's like it's a prop. You know, it's something from the past, and we like to preserve the past, right? And but don't bother getting it processed, because it's probably going to come back. I mean, when I did it, I found a whole bunch of the film in the flea market down in Sarasota, Florida, and I think there's 10 of them in this flea market, and I had them all processed because there's process included, right? And so they came back, but they're like, I don't know, yellowish, you know. But if you end up buying and you have to pay for processing because Kodak doesn't do it anymore, be aware that it's not going to look the greatest. Okay. So, anyways, that is the Super 8 tip of the week. I thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again at Cinema First. And oh yes, we have a field trip coming up to Rockwood, Ontario with Kevin Hogg and Jeff Taylor, and that'll be coming up on my next show. So stay tuned for that, and we will talk to you again here on Cinema First.